Tim Vine makes me laugh out loud more than anyone in the world.
Bit of advice, ladies and gentlemen. Never eat candy floss on a roller coaster. I went to the tarot card reader. I said, it's my birthday today. Can you tell me what the cards say? He said, sure. To Tim, happy birthday, love from Granny. You see, I've been living with a woman for some time. She's quite a bit older than me. We don't get on. It's my mum.
Tim Vine may not be a household name, but his rapid-fire style once earned him a place in the Guinness Book of Records for the most jokes told in 1 hour, an incredible 499.
Sheesh.
He is an onslaught. When you watch him on stage, it's just joke after joke after joke after joke, and it's, you know, it's that thing of, if you don't like that one, it doesn't matter, there'll be another one along in a second.
I was christened with a flamethrower. That was a baptism of fire, I tell you. And the vicar was wearing a gorilla suit, which was a blessing in disguise. Did you know all male tennis players are witches? For example, Goran, even he's a witch.
I never at any stage thought to myself, I must do short jokes. I think it kind of evolved. I think it evolved out of a fear of I don't like the look in an audience's on their faces while they're waiting for the next punchline, so I try and make that wait as short as possible, you know. So if I go, Velcro, what a rip-off, and then I wait, and then they're like, ha, and then they're ready for the next one, you know.
So I went to the hair salon, my dad's sister walked in, spinning round in circles. I thought, oh my giddy aunt. So I said to this bloke, I said, I'm going to Buckingham Palace to do Prince Philip's hair. He said, have you got a permit? I said, no, I've just got to take a bit off the back.
It's very funny. It's very funny. So it's not just a double meaning, the kind of dad's joke, double meaning, simple joke. It's the wonderful image that he creates with the other meaning to the phrase.
Oh, well, if anyone's about to die, I'm just going to have a little look, actually. I haven't left anything out because I've been booked to tell, you know, 9,000. Talk amongst yourselves. We'll start again in just a second. If I don't find where I lost my place, we will start again.
That's the act that I'm currently doing at the moment. There it is. And I keep this on me when I'm on stage because it's like a comforter to me. I'll just read one out at random for you. Someone left a huge lump of plasticine in my dressing room. I don't know what to make of it.
Oh, that's all right. Oh, we hardly missed anything out. All right. Tell you what, as a treat, I'll add some more.
This is now your edit point here.
Before presenting became his vocation of choice, our next stand-up was known for dealing with more controversial material.
We're going to get me to turn the lights on in Belfast. This is true. Right, and then they changed their mind at the last minute because the last person called Paddy, who was that near a button in the middle of Belfast, the whole of Bedford Street went up.
In County Down, in 1988, Patrick Kielty's father was murdered by loyalist paramilitaries, despite having no connection to the Troubles. It was an event that later shaped Kielty's comedy.
And I tell you how you knew it was bad during the summer, because Kate 80 was here. Hey, Kate 80's arrived.
He took the most combustible topic there possibly could be in British politics, and he made it very, very funny.
And we could have celebrity gladiators. We could have the RUC fighting the IRA in big spangly suits, right, with cotton bud. Peeler, you're fighting Semtex. Peeler, you will attack on my first whistle. Semtex, you will phone through the coded warning on my second whistle.
He was really not just an important comic in Northern Ireland, he was an important person in Northern Ireland. I really do think so. I think he was sort of as important as some of the politicos up there, or if not more so.
If Patrick's watching this, and I hope he is, Patrick, stop the presenting, go back to stand-up.
Alan Carr. I love Alan Carr.
Don't laugh at my voice. Don't. I've had it all my life, honestly. I was bullied at school. Bullied, I had glasses, I had a brace, I had a hearing aid. I wasn't deaf, but it's nice to have the full set. I mean, I had to have a brace, I had big teeth. Boy, I had big teeth. If I'd gone to Africa, I would have got poached.
He's so camp. And he's like that off stage. It's not like he comes on stage and all of a sudden he becomes really camp. He's like that all the time, even when he's shopping in Tesco's.
You see, I had a pushy dad, you know what I mean? He wanted me to be a footballer, you know. Me and my brother would have a kickabout down the park and he'd have to turn up. Kick the ball, you puff! Hedrick, you puff! And if you hear something enough times... I had to tell my dad that I wasn't going to be a footballer. He went ballistic. I said, Dad, I'm doing a performing arts degree.
He said, why are you doing this to me?
I said, I don't know. But I can show you through expressive dance.
It's a bullseye! And here's your host, Jim Bowen!
In at 97, it's Britain's favourite game show host with his own brand of corny crackers.
What a super audience we've got tonight. We've got some people in from Warwick tonight, haven't we, young sir? From Warwick? Yes, very nice. Couple here, not married, just living together.
Top same as he used to do on the bullseye, super smashing, super... Oh, you've not worked for 7 years. Oh, smashing, super. You know, hell.
You write poems and ditties, then. Have you ever shown your boyfriend your ditties?
When I was doing Bullseye, in the first series I did, and second and third, in fact, they were all crap, but they didn't find me out until we'd finished doing them, and the Rolls Royce was in the garage.
This fella walked into this pub, it's true, he was positively possed.
Jim Bowen's been doing stand-up since the swinging 60s, the liberal times, an age of equality and obvious influence.
The freedom we used to have, when we were only comics, right at the bottom of the ladder in terms of consequence, was we could talk about anything, because we're only comics. We're not sending people to Iraq, we're not cancelling pensions, we're not making people work till they're 70. All we're trying to do is lubricate the pains of the day, and that's all we were, until the do-gooder came in. And they're a pain, they're an absolute pain, and you can't do jokes about this, that and the other, and that started to hamstring the whole joy of comedy and stand-up.
I used to live in Blackburn, and I came back about 3 months ago trying to find a shop, and I lost. And I saw this Indian gentleman walking towards me, nice chap. I said, excuse me, he said, what do you wanting? I said, Tesco. Bloody Tesco, what's bloody? I said, Tesco, let me try this, that's thinking. I said, I said, Tesco, West Indies, 114 for 5. And, see?
Bill Cosby is one of the true greats.
But the biggest one is the cocaine. There they go. There they go. Cocaine, Jack.
Bill Cosby's stand-up performances showcased his prowess as a storyteller and became a platform by which he could put across his astute yet hilarious views on popular subjects such as work, family and even drugs.
And I said to a guy, I said, tell me, what is it about cocaine that makes it so wonderful? And the guy said, well, it intensifies your personality. And I said, yes, but what if you're an
At 95, hyperactive Eric Morecambe-esque funny man, Lee Mack.
Why did the chicken cross the road? Because his house has been bombed by the Russians. Leave him alone, he's only a chicken. Is this all? Leave him alone, he's a chicken. Sorry, not chicken, Chechen.
By saying broad appeal, people don't like the word mainstream. I'm quite happy to embrace the mainstream. There's like a cut-off point where if you're liked, it's good, and if you're liked quite a bit, it's very good. If you're liked a lot, it's bad.
I wish someone would tell Robbie Williams that this doesn't constitute entertainment. Look at me, smug as Come on, Glastonbury, you know this one. Yeah, we know it, Robbie. It was 150 quid to get in. Any chance you could sing it for us?
How would I describe it? It's completely disjointed. I don't have any... A lot of people do theme shows. I just don't do that. I just tell jokes.
What he's doing is driving down the road and he said, what I'm going to do, right, is I'm going to slap my hand on the dashboard and I want you to make an emergency stop as though a small child has stepped out in front of the car. Right? And before he could put his belt on, I whizzed my brakes on like that and he hit his head full on the window like this. And he turned around and he said, why don't you wait till I slap my hand on the dashboard? I said, there's a child's life at stake here. I haven't got time to out of games, have I?
I just keep telling jokes, look at me watch, and when the hour and a half's up, I say, I'm off, done my time. Union rules.
us after the break for more great orators on stand-up comedy.
If he still doesn't understand what you're saying, smash the place up.
Welcome back to the 100 Greatest Stand-Ups, the show guaranteed not to let you down.
He said, don't you, I said, don't you, he said, don't you, I said, don't you.
Well, Father, best of luck.
The Latin, Father.
All right, yeah. Totus tuus minimus canis costa corta Baggio Roberto.
Ardal O'Hanlon made his name in Britain with his role as a priest on Craggy Island. But as a successful stand-up and author, his material is poles apart from the childlike ramblings of Father Dougal.
And Sue Lawley stopped me one time. Do you know Sue Lawley? Another person I hate, actually. I hate her whole family as well, my dad. But she was asking me if I was ever stuck on a desert island, what 2 books would I bring with me? And I didn't like the threat implied in that question.
Nothing can replace the excitement of going on a stage in front of a bunch of people, you know. I imagine flying fighter pilots might be something similar, or, you know, or burglaring a house.
I said to her, the first book I'd bring with me would be a big plastic inflatable book. And the second one would be how to make oars out of sand, all right? Now leave me alone.
I look at the human condition, not in a very serious way. But I look at it nonetheless, and I suppose my instinct is to render everything I see absurd.
Condoms, they're useless and they're ineffective and they burst. And your stomach just can't cope with the sudden impact of 2 kilos of cocaine. You know what I mean?
What Rick's got is immense charisma.
Here's my joke. Now then, what do you say to a bloke that's got no arms and no legs if your watch is broken? Have you got the time on your cock?
Rick was, you know, young and beautiful, and was also effortlessly funny.
Yeah, he's pure stand-up, Rick. I mean, he feels happiest when he's in front of a crowd, you know, making him laugh.
I live with my mum, and she gets on my wick. And when I'm told off, I'm deliberately sick. So look out, you squares. I'm an angry young man. I once showed my willy to yes, I am evil. What? Don't you mess round with me! Bloody hell!
Do you know, the very first tube station ever opened was Baker Street in 1863. What was the point of that? Where would you go?
Next, the king of improvisation and possibly the fastest brain in the business, Paul Merton.
When you hear the joke, you see it, as you see the image as well as, you know, you can visualise.
Yes, you can always judge a man by the way he drinks his tea. A man who drinks it with the handle facing towards him is necessarily a liberal. A man who drinks it out the cup is obviously mad.
You can say something to him and he will have the quickest, funniest comeback.
Yes, that's right. Hitler's the name. What about it?
He is absolutely a student of comedy, almost more than any other comedian I've ever met, and I totally respect that about him.
Can't wait to see what happens at the end.
Nothing bugs me no more when I'm demonstrating than to have some cat tell me, why don't you get on back where you came from in a foreign accent?
In the 1950s and 60s, Dick Gregory was one of America's most influential comedians, championing civil rights while blazing a trail for future black comics.
I was the first Negro comic permitted to work a white nightclub. That had never happened before, because no black person was permitted to stand flat-footed and talk to white America.
And I never will forget that night. I jumped out of bed, got in my car, rushed over to the west side of Chicago, right in the height of the ride. I get out in my car, and here's this colored woman picks up this brick and throw through this pawn shop window. And she grabbed 3 pistols. And I rushed up to her and said, "Cool it, baby. Don't act like this. You're going to mess up the whole civil rights movement." She said, "Damn the civil rights movement. I just caught my husband with another woman, and I'm going to kill him."
Dick Gregory became the first black comic to be invited to sit down and talk to the host after performing stand-up on the immensely popular Jack Paar TV show in 1961.
Problems we have.
Had I just gone on the Paar show, my salary would have probably jumped up to $500 a week. But to sit on the couch, I went to $5,000 a night.
Let me tell you about this daughter of mine. Last Christmas Eve night, I walked into my daughter's room. I said, "Michelle, tonight's Christmas Eve. It's 11:30. You're 7 years old. Go to bed and get ready for Santa Claus." She said, "I don't believe in Santa Claus." I said, "What do you mean you don't believe in Santa Claus and I'm picking up the tab?" She said, "I don't care what you picking up. I don't believe in Santa Claus." I said, "Why?" She said, "Because you know darn good and well ain't no white man coming in our neighborhood after midnight."
Our next stand-up may never have made it onto the list if he hadn't taken some advice from a legendary comic when he appeared on the TV talent show New Faces. Thanks, Ken.
I haven't been in show business long. I used to be a long-distance lorry driver on the Isle of Wight.
Very, very, very funny. I'd give him 120 out of 100.
When I done New Faces, he was on the panel. He watched the rehearsal in the afternoon, and then I went to make up, and he sat in the chair next to me. And he said, "Hello, son, how are you?" So I said, "Hello, Ken, lovely to meet you." He said, "Can I give you some advice?" I said, "Yeah, what is it?" And he pulled a piece of paper out, and he'd written down my whole act. And he said, "Right, don't do that. Open with this gag instead. When you get the rabbit out of the hat, don't throw it away. Drop it down your trousers, shake your leg, it'll come out the bottom, you get an extra laugh there." And he changed the whole act. And he said, "You do that, you'll win." And I did it, and I won.
Joe Pasquale's been performing his stage show for 20 years, with his own blend of stand-up and some Tommy Cooper-style magic thrown in.
Yes, Liz, it's the... Oh, listen, Liz, I've just had some bad news about my granddad. Apparently my granddad's come back from the doctors this week. He can only get excited by putting his willy in a hot mug of water. It's not my cup of tea, so what are you doing?
And along with the magic and comedy is Mr. Pasquale's innate and rather unique ability to be able to curdle milk with his voice.
The buckets of doom!
I thought he put that voice on, you see. And when I went to see him and I spoke to him, he spoke back in a little squeaky voice.
The buckets of doom. Why did the Mexican throw his wife off the cliff? Tequila.
My voice is my voice, and that's all you can say about it. I'd love to have a strong, deep, macho voice, but it's not there. So if that's what people remember you for, and if that's the hook, then so be it. But I don't think you can invent something like that.
The last time I played London was at the Palladium Theatre in 1958. I must have made a very good impression, because here it is, only 17 years later, and they brought me back.
Now you were talking about a fella that can't time a gag. Cigar, no bluster, no fluffing his lines. Just there. It was absolute magic.
I smoke between 15 and 20 cigars a day. My age, I gotta hold on to something.
Today I came a bit early. I went and had a few holes, golf. Played 5, fell down 4.
As well as being the shortest half of one of the most celebrated partnerships in comedy history, Ronnie Corbett could also be described as possibly our laziest stand-up, carving a unique niche for himself with his meandering sit-down monologues.
You watch the Ronnie Corbett monologues, they seem surprisingly modern. And I think that's because they've got the sort of changes in pace that we have. They've got the sort of variety of subject and topic that alternative comedy has. And also somebody who's kind of aware that some of the jokes are corny and cheesy, but colludes in that process.
It was 5:30. I'd just left to go home when suddenly, without warning, the kidnapper struck. car roared up outside along beside me. The door was flung open, I was dragged in, and off we went. We drove for 3 hours till we came to a deserted, disused old building, which they'd obviously picked, because no one would ever go there, you know. Rotherham football ground.
He would do these things and they would last 3 or 4 minutes and they would have no point. Well, you could just as easily be describing Eddie Izzard or Harry Hill.
Corbett continues to perform his gags to packed-out theatres today, preferring orthodox stand-up these days.
I got a job once, I went for a casual job, on a building site. Labour, the foreman said to me, "Can you make a cup of tea?" he said to me. I said, "Yes." He said, "Can you drive a forklift truck?" I said, "Christ, how big's the kettle?"